The CPU is literally the brain of a computer. No CPU, no PC. Today I'm putting that to the ultimate test with Fortnite and a CPU that costs just $2. Can a $2 CPU really run a game like this, or is it destined to crawl? Honestly, I'm kind of scared to see how painfully slow it might be. Luckily, I know exactly where to look. EBAY. Let's hunt down the cheapest CPU I can find and see if it can even run Fortnite. This is going to get wild. First, we head over to eBay to hunt for a CPU. I set the price filter from $0 to $2, then hit the arrow to see what pops up. And wow, tons of CPUs under $2 are listed. I'm skipping over the ones up for auction for now. At first I thought a price this low would give me tons of options. Boy, was I wrong. Most of what's available are Core 2 Duo chips and Socket 775 CPUs. Some of these were released over 16 years ago and a few even older. There's no way these ancient CPUs could handle modern gaming. I did spot an i3-4150 running at 3.5 GHz. Decent for a $2 CPU, right? But I wanted something with more power, ideally 4 cores and 4 threads. And after digging through the listings, I finally found the perfect choice for this crazy experiment. This is the Xeon E5-1620 V4 that I snagged for just $2. Before we dive into performance testing, let's take a quick look at where this little powerhouse actually comes from. The Xeon E5-1620 V4 was originally released as part of Intel's Xeon lineup, aimed at workstations and entry-level servers. Back in 2016, it was designed to handle heavy multitasking, data processing, and professional workloads with stability and reliability. Exactly what businesses needed at the time. Interestingly, even though it's a server CPU, some of its specs are surprisingly similar to desktop Core i chips that gamers love. With 4 cores and 8 threads and solid clock speeds, it shares a lot of architecture and performance traits with consumer CPUs, which makes it more capable for gaming than you might think. That said, over the years, demand has increased and workloads have grown more complex. This CPU can no longer keep up with modern professional tasks as originally intended. Now it's being repurposed, removed from servers and sold on marketplaces where it can serve a new life, powering light gaming and budget builds instead. When this CPU first hit the market back in 2016, it carried a price tag of around $213. Today, over a decade later, you can find the same processor for roughly $2 on eBay. That's a staggering drop. Less than 1% of its original launch price, showing just how much value depreciates over time in the CPU market. Of course, nothing is perfect, and even at such a ridiculously low price, this CPU has some noticeable drawbacks. First, its TDP is quite high, producing significant heat under load. Without a capable cooler, the processor can throttle or even overheat. It also draws more power than modern entry-level chips, which can slightly increase electricity usage during extended sessions. Stability relies heavily on having adequate cooling, so investing in a quality heatsink or fan is almost mandatory. On top of that, compatible motherboards tend to be expensive, particularly workstation-grade or OEM options. While the chip itself costs next to nothing, the total expense of building a functional and reliable system ends up being higher than that $2 price tag might suggest. But don't worry, manufacturers from China have given us a cheaper alternative. You can go with X99 motherboards from Huananji. These boards are designed to be minimalistic, cutting out extra components and some features to keep the price low, but they still deliver stable performance. Of course, they're not quite on the same level as premium brands like Dell or Asus, but for a budget build, they're a solid option. Another great perk? This CPU can use super cheap server RAM, which makes upgrading memory way more affordable compared to standard desktop modules. For a tight budget, that's a huge win. When this Xeon CPU first launched, it used an architecture called Broadwell, which wasn't a huge leap over its predecessor, Haswell. Unlike the jump from 2nd to 3rd gen, Broadwell didn't add much for regular desktop users. The main improvement was a shrink in the manufacturing process from 22 nanometers down to 14 nanometers. In fact, by the time Intel reached its 11th generation, the process still referenced 14 nanometers with extra refinements. It comes with 4 cores and 8 threads, a base clock of 3.5 GHz, and can turbo up to 3.8 GHz, backed by 10 megabytes of L3 cache. It supports DDR4 memory up to 2400 MHz and has a TDP of 140 watts. Yep, 140 watts. So a solid cooler is a must to keep it running stable. Alright, enough of the negatives. Let's see if this Xeon can actually prove itself as a best bang for your buck CPU. First up, let's take a look at the full setup we're using for testing. CPU, Xeon E5-1620V4. Motherboard, X99 TFQ. RAM, 16 GB EC, C running at 2400 MHz. GPU GTX 10603GB. Before jumping into gaming, let's put this $2 CPU to the test with Cinebench R15. On the multi-core test, it scored 742 CB, while the single-core result came in at 154 CB, giving a multi-to-single-core ratio of 4.81x. These numbers line up with what you'd expect from a 4-core, 8-thread Broadwell CPU. Single-core performance is solid, comparable to some Core i7 Skylake chips from the same era, better suited for general computing or budget builds that reuse an X99 motherboard, rather than heavy rendering, simulation, or other CPU-intensive tasks. For a $2 processor, though, it's surprisingly capable for entry-level performance. Let's start with a game released in 2017, Fortnite. This is essentially a showdown between an 8-year-old game and a 9-year-old CPU. So who comes out on top? Running at 1080p with medium settings, the FPS averages around 50 to 70, occasionally dipping below 50, which causes noticeable stutter. That's understandable that this system needs time to load and process game assets like maps, sound, and in-game objects, as well as background applications. Once everything stabilizes, FPS improves by roughly 40%, and the system handles combat well enough to take down opponents smoothly, except for a few tricky moments. Despite being 9 years old, the CPU delivers stable performance around 85% load, occasionally spiking to 100%. Temperatures stay relatively cool at 43 degrees Celsius, and power consumption is modest at 38.7 watts. On low settings, the CPU behaves pretty much like it did on medium, but the big difference is that FPS now stays consistently above 100. Pretty impressive for such an old chip. Even during intense moments like gunfights, building defensive structures, or running through object-heavy areas, FPS only drops slightly to around 90, which is still very playable. The GPU also benefits from the lower settings. Its workload drops to about 70%, although temperatures still hover around 70 degrees Celsius, probably because it's using an older cooler. All in all, this setup can handle Fortnite surprisingly well. For the smoothest experience, you'll just want to tweak the in-game settings a bit, finding the right balance between visuals and performance, so that gameplay stays responsive and enjoyable. So after putting this $2 CPU through its paces in multiple games, what's the verdict? Honestly, it's kind of amazing what you can get for next to nothing. While it obviously shows its age, especially in CPU-heavy titles, it's still surprisingly capable for basic gaming and esports titles. On medium settings, FPS can be inconsistent, but lower the settings a bit, and you can get smooth, playable performance. Even in modern games like Fortnite, the CPU hits full load in most situations and temperatures are manageable with a decent cooler. But it does highlight that if you want long-term stability or to push heavier workloads, investing in proper cooling is essential. Paired with a reasonable GPU like the GTX 10603GB, this chip can still deliver surprisingly solid gameplay, proving that even ancient hardware can shine in the right conditions. Of course, this is far from a high-end system. Don't expect to run demanding AAA games at ultra settings. But for budget builds, casual gaming, or just experimenting with resurrected hardware, this CPU is a steal. If you enjoyed watching this ridiculous experiment come together, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and leave a comment with what you'd like to see tested next. Thanks for sticking around, and I'll see you in the next one.